Good evening, everyone. I want to call the Wednesday, April 23rd school committee meeting to order. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you all please remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of our good friend and strong supporter of education, Senate President Dominic Ruggiero. Thank you. First order of business, approval of minutes.
Motion made to approve.
Second.
Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no correspondence. No one has signed up for public comment. Item number 6, Chair will entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion made to approve as presented. Second.
Any questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Pilata. At this time, I would like to invite to the podium our Director of Multiple Pathways, Mrs. Melissa Caffrey, to give the committee and the public an update on our expanding CTE pathways, many of which have become a model for the rest of the state under Mrs. Caffrey's capable and dynamic leadership. So, Mrs. Caffrey, the podium is yours.
Thank you, and good evening. I appreciate you having me here tonight to present some exciting new updates for career and technical education in North Providence. I am going to provide brief context, but one Sunday afternoon, I was cooking in my kitchen, the TV was on, and in the background, I heard Coventry High School CTE Pathways. So I looked up, and there was a beautiful commercial showcasing the students in Coventry participating in their pathways. So I thought to myself, I would love to be able to market and message CTE for the North Providence community. So I reached out to my colleague in Coventry and inquired, and she put me in touch with the representative from Cox Communications, Mr. Scott Roberts. We met several times to develop a marketing and messaging plan on how to best promote CTE in North Providence. I learned a great deal about how certain commercials were aired on certain channels, as well as how audiences are targeted when productions are made. So we focused on airing the commercial production to families between the ages of 10 and 17 and selected zones within our region and a little bit beyond to air the information we wanted to personally share with our communities. Seeing that the commercials are only 30 seconds, we had to be very concise in our selection process. Believe it or not, 2 30-second commercials took weeks of planning and a full day of filming here at the high school. Luckily, I received state categorical funding for my RIDE CTE approved programs. So currently we have 7 programs here at the high school, 6 of which are accredited. So I do receive a decent amount of funding that I can allocate to meet the program's needs and resources. So we filmed 2 30-second commercials that are currently being aired on ESPN, NESN, Fox News, Hallmark, MSNBC, TNT, and a few more. These commercials have been aired since early April, and they're going to go through the end of June. And basically, the commercials are being aired in our surrounding communities: Providence, Pawtucket, Smithfield, Johnston, Lincoln, Cranston, and a few more. So the first commercial I'm going to show you encompasses the 7 CTE pathways that we have here at North Providence High School, but I am bringing in an 8th pathway in the fall, and that's going to be performing in visual arts.
Jumpstart college and career readiness at North Providence High School in the Career and Technical Education Program. Whether you're aiming high in North Providence only Air Force JROTC program, or earning your associate's degree in our PTAC Health Science program, you'll get hands-on training, learn valuable skills with real-world experience. With any career pathways to choose from,
So that's the first one. Oh. So thank you very much. The second commercial is strictly for our Air Force JROTC program because we are the only program in the state to house an Air Force JROTC program. So we thought we should really specialize and focus on that program solely for statewide recruitment. Per the military, you're supposed to have 50 cadets in your program. It used to be 100, but they've reduced the number to 50. If you don't have 50 cadets in your program, your school is placed on probation until you hit that number. So we thought, since we were producing these commercials, let's do a separate one just for the Air Force so that we can open it up to the state.
Are you ready to lead at North Providence High School's Air Force Junior ROTC program? Only one in Rhode Island. Students will learn leadership skills, build character, and gain confidence by pushing their limits above and beyond. Graduating from JROTC gives you a head start with advanced ranking pay, plus access to top scholarships and top military academies. From aerospace science to real-world skills, future leaders are made at North Providence High.
That's the second. Yeah, the beautiful football field. And so if you noticed when you were watching the commercials, there was a QR code in the bottom right-hand corner. So society, very technically savvy. If parents were to put their camera on that QR code, it takes them right to my newly designed website that houses all of the information for CTE, and it also brings them right to our application where they can submit that online through our online portal. So I do have one more video, and I think it's important to share. This one is 5 minutes, sorry, but it's the kids and it's the teachers, and I really think it's important for you to see. But through this partnership with Cox, they also were able to partner me up with what they call Your View. So it's Cox Channel 4, where they will highlight documentaries of programs that are going on in the state of Rhode Island. So here we got to talk with all of the kids in the pathway. We got to speak with our teachers. Myself and Mrs. McGill were able to say a few words as well. So I think it's worth sharing because you get to hear the most important voice, and that's our students. I did ask them if they could put filters on the adults because when you see yourself on film, it's frightening. At North Providence High School, I'm happy to say that we have 8 career and technical education programs. Currently, we have our Air Force JROTC program, which is the only Air Force program in the state of Rhode Island. We have business financial management. We have computer science, marine trade, which is boat building, pre-engineering, law and public safety, which also incorporates not only law, but law enforcement and fire science. We have our Tech Health Science program, as well as something in the fall, we have performing and digital arts. Career and technical education has been very transformative for our school and school program. It provided our students with a wealth of opportunities outside of the classroom. They have real world opportunities. They form partnerships with businesses and industry partners. It allows them to have some time out of the classroom to earn certifications. They earn college credit. And it allows them to be able to fulfill reinforcement of school. Anytime I talk about the CTE pathways and programs in North Providence, I always reference 3 instrumental and important communities. Community number 1 is the school district. We're responsible for implementing a rigorous CTE skills improvement where there is coursework, and within that coursework, we have the opportunity for students to earn industry credentials and certifications, which is a wonderful opportunity for our students in addition to the coursework that they're completing. Students have gained a lot from being in the engineering program. We have a lot of students to get scholarships, preferential admission. We train all of our students and they get and certification. And when they get hired at they're starting off at a higher pay scale because they already have the credentials that they need for this job. Because of this pathway, I was introduced to so many engineering careers of all the real world scenarios that I was introduced to. I can see that I am capable secondary institution. That allows our students to earn college credit while in high school. And in one of our programs, our students have the opportunity to earn an associate degree. And we have had over 40 students earn that associate degree at no cost to their families before they receive their high school diploma. Another aspect is helping students prepare for college. So having them become self-directed learners and having them be successful when they go through their classroom. I think the students in PTech kick off in early freshman year, so having them be ready and be college ready, I think is really important for them to be successful. When I went to get my associate's degree, I pretty much jumped right at the opportunity as a high school junior. I am going to graduate with my associate's degree, my in excellence, and I'm on track to get my PhD. And getting a degree in workforce development, we partner with industries across the state of Rhode Island where we can get work-based learning opportunities within the career process.
Honestly, marine trade has really changed my life. I feel as though both of all the things I've done here have really helped me and made me take a career path. Not only a career path, but also a really more confident.
What I want to do is be a software engineer, and with the computer science pathway is a perfect start to be able to further my education and further my knowledge on computer science. Well, then open my eyes because of the whole things we do. Like I know for me, we did a whole unit on fingerprinting. We would like analyze all the characteristics and try and match prints. And I think that really caught my interest and opened my eyes. This is what I want to continue to do.
The thing that excites me the most about the finance world is specifically mergers and acquisitions. At first, I didn't really know what to expect with the pathway, but I've been completely blown away.
CTE pathways are a great opportunity for foundation for any career, and I think especially for women. The important part is an opportunity for self-expression, and I feel like that comes with music, with acting, painting, visual art. So for me, it almost like inspired me to be the best who I am today.
I was not from this high school, see, it's the only course at ROTC in Rhode Island. One of the opportunities is the skills that they're learning. It's not just from the military. The skills learned in the program goes really for any career. Even though we're military focused or affiliated, it is not a career program. Our main mission is to instill values of integrity, leadership, and personal responsibility.
A lot of the professional experiences in the FJRTC pathway, the opportunity to know leadership skills, and my biggest thing is the opportunity to, and I don't know if it's senior year because that's an opportunity that we have within the pathway. So what's wonderful about CTE pathways and programs is that it prepares our students for college and career readiness at a very young age, where they're equipped with the 21st century skills and competencies that are necessary for the global market.
It was a lot of fun to do, and you know the work is all worth it when you hear the students and when you hear them speak about how the programs have impacted them and inspired them to move forward. So I'm so happy the way that everything did turn out. So just to give you some brief data, and then I promise I'm done. So currently we have 538 students in CTE pathways now. We have approximately 1,104 students at North Providence, so a little bit less than half of the students are in CTE pathways. As of today, I received an additional 250 applications for the next school year, and based on the numbers, we're going to have 620 students next year across the 8 pathways. So for our ROTC, I'm actually really happy to report that we have close to 60. So yay, we won't be on probation. So business financial management has around 82, computer science 64, law and public safety 93, marine trade 63, pre-engineering 78, and our P-Tech health science will have 170 students next year. I'm also happy to report that this year, I have the highest number of students receiving their associate degree. I have 16 seniors receiving their associate degree before they receive their high school diploma. So there are so many wonderful experiences and opportunities for these students throughout these pathways, and I'm really grateful that I am able to work with so many talented teachers and staff and students in leadership. It's been a great experience for me. And the one thing I do want to stress is that CTE for North Providence is still relatively new. We've had programs for 8 years, but most districts have had centers and have had programs running in their high schools for quite some time. So I definitely think that North Providence is moving in the right direction in providing these opportunities for our students. I'm done.
Does
Questions?
anyone have any questions, comments? So have you advertised where these commercials are going to be aired?
Yes, so they're being aired currently on ESPN, NESN, Hallmark, MSNBC, Fox News. So when I met with the director for Cox Communication, when they target your audiences for us, which is 10 to 17, we targeted the families of 10 to 17. Believe it or not, those were the most highly watched channels. So that's where the programs, the commercials are being aired. So it was a really interesting process to figure out, what commercials they placed and on what station based on the audiences. So, and I have received several phone calls, I have to say, from people that I know that I just saw your commercial. I just actually, I had a little extra funding, so I just paid an additional $460 for, it's going to be on during like the Celtics playoffs, the Celtics games. Yeah, so a lot of sports channels. I know I had a friend who was at the Senadale revival a few weeks ago, and the Red Sox was on. They called, we just saw your commercial, between the Red Sox games. So we're getting I think we're getting a lot of great publicity. And I should mention that I have the highest number of out of district applications now. And I don't think it's solely just because of the commercial. It hasn't been airing all that long, but I just think it's word of mouth and the visibility, of the programs, like within the community and then outside the community. Yeah. So Providence, Pawtucket. I have a few from Smithfield, Cranston, but primarily Providence and Pawtucket.
I would just love to see the moment of the
Yeah.
It's one of the things we do as as well. We show where they're from.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see the idea of where we're pulling from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those. Yeah.
This is a game where they change it every year.
Right.
So it's interesting to see how the presentation plays out.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really impact us too much. We're in obviously Region 3, so we do pull mostly from Region 3. I have 2 students from North Smithfield that are not in our region, and I think I have one from Cumberland.
Only because I know last time Dr. Slade was on, we had spoken about
The consortium.
Partnership. I was just curious on that coordination and out of
Yeah.
Providence.
And the highest number of kids that do come into our community are coming in for PTEC, because it's very unique in the sense where you're able to offer them the associate degree at no cost to their families, and then obviously the workforce development piece. But most school districts, you'll see will have pre-engineering, computer science, and business and things like that. So it's you want to make your programs in a sense unique so that they do look different in a different community.
And I'd love to see data. I don't know
Yeah.
about potentially with how we're doing with the students who are finishing.
Yeah.
Versus, is there any differences based on programs that you're seeing? So, obviously there's higher interest field.
There is one of the things that I can speak to with PTEC is that especially students who do graduate with their associate degree are getting accepted into nursing programs right outside of high school. So they're they don't have to go through the 2 years of completing their general education requirements, where they can get accepted into those programs at a quicker pace. And then it's all of the networking with the workforce development and the industry partnerships too, because the students are working with industry through work-based learning, so they're making connections. So who's getting internships? Who's saying, okay, when you graduate high school, come see us at Navigant, credit union. So there's a lot of fostering of partnerships that happen throughout for all of the pathways.
The only other thing I would love to see is the number of students with IEPs that are in
Mhm.
academic pathways in relation to their peers.
And we do have a decent amount, and actually we do have some MLL too. But the part that does get challenging too is with the mandates from RIDE. So with all students having to take a foreign language, that adds into the scheduling piece because normally, especially for freshmen and sophomores, they have one period to take an elective. So if you do have an IEP and you need academic support, you have to honor that. So students may not be able to start the pathway in ninth grade, but potentially they could start it in 10th grade.
Are there any conversations about the high school schedule opening up the periods differently, or thinking differently about maybe a 4x4 on the schedule that would be more conducive to the career tech program?
I say we're always open for it.
I'm just curious, what are the conversations? If there are conversations or no?
I mean, yeah, I mean, we always like to figure out creative ways that we can obviously honor, the scheduling and whatnot. But with our rotating schedule that we currently have, I mean, it's working. But
Going to the 4x4, I would be interested only to allow them more time, and I think we students to wait to go up because,
mhm,
as you know, the discipline goes down
yeah,
in career tech programs because they're highly engaged. So it's a way to build. I think the schedule's a nice way because this programming is absolutely reset. So
yeah.
we're far we're not where everybody else is necessarily, but we're doing a great job, and that's
Mhm.
under your leadership. So
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And I do think that we're still focusing on the traditional high school though. I'd love to put some conversations around how to open up the schedule in a way that allows more opportunities.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, our students who are 18 don't necessarily can't always go into FinTech depending on unless
Mhm.
they're in for engineering.
Mhm.
They're now competing against which one they want to do.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
sometimes
for the
schedule-
most part, when they become juniors and seniors, their schedules become more flexible because there's more room. So we're creative in the sense in, putting certain periods back to back so that you kind of can get that block scheduling for those kids, like especially in marine trades. Like we just put 2 periods back to back and they have a longer period of time to be able to do the work that they need to be successful. You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments?
Just quickly,
Yes.
how does this translate to Davies in terms of them being a traditional vocational school?
To Davies?
Davies. So we have significant numbers over the years of kids who went to Davies, especially when we started paying for them.
Mm-hmm. I
I
see
don't know.
less and less kids are leaving, more kids are staying. And just so that everybody knows, when we select pathways to bring into our school, kids are surveyed. So I'm constantly surveying the students to see, well, where are your interests? Like, I'm not going to bring in performing and visual arts if there's no interest in that. That was a very high percentage of kids who wanted that piece. So we're going to bring it in, and it's not just going to be theater. It's going to be art. It's going to be dance. It's going to be music. It's going to be foundational so that everybody has exposure to the arts.
Very good, excellent.
He
Thank
can
you
be a
very
mentor.
much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Good job. Next item on the agenda is item number 8, school committee report requests. I asked the superintendent to put this on the agenda because I think it's only suitable at this time that the Greystone and the Centerdale communities get together with the possibility of renaming the Greystone School. As you know, 2 new schools are being built. I think it's critically important that we honor both Greystone and Centerdale. If there's an interest in renaming Greystone Elementary School. So I'm going to ask the superintendent to put together formidable committees, equal representation, to include all the constituencies from each of the schools, including the administration, the teachers, the school improvement teams, parents, PTO, and or any other constituencies that the superintendent feels should be part of the committee. I'll ask the superintendent to do that at this point. Is there any objection by any committee member? Okay, thank you. I'm not going to put a timeline on it. I think it's too important to put a timeline on it, but certainly we can back it down to the point where when we know exactly when the school is going to be completed, back down that date, and then I'll leave it up to you, Mr. Goho, to bring forth to the school committee a recommendation or two to rename the new elementary school. Thank you. We have no old business, new business, Mr. Goho.
Thank you, Dr. Pilata. First item under new business is relative to the building management system, which controls the HVAC and the heating at the high school. We've been aware for a while, quite some time, that system is failing, not working properly, and we are investing a lot of time, resources, financial and otherwise, into the maintenance and upkeep of it. We've had to preempt replacing it because it is a significant expenditure, typically around $150,000. However, Mr. Ferroli and Mr. Averone did some research along with Ms. Casanelli, and they came forward with a phenomenal opportunity through the Rhode Island Energy program, which they are running a commercial and industrial energy efficiency rebate with incentives. So with a brand new efficient system in place, we will not only be saving with the incentives, but also a monthly cost of $5,515 on our electric and natural gas. So to replace the system would be, as I said, approximately $150,000. Once we take advantage of the Rhode Island Energy incentives of $149,312, this leaves a cost to the district of $16,528. But we will submit that remaining amount to the Rhode Island School Building Authority, and we are confident that that will be reimbursed under health and safety at 60%. So our total cost will be approximately $8,000. So 60%, about $7,000, and that will be paid for in the first 2 months just with savings in our energy bill. So I am recommending that we go forward with this process.
Motion made to approve.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is approval of bids. As you know, we advertise publicly the contracted services that we need to bring into the district. We are currently in the last year of the contract with a number of services we have gone out to bid. Ms. Van Avery has put together a recommendation, which is in your packet, recommending certain companies and vendors to be approved. So tonight I'm asking for your approval to award the bid, and then we will subsequently obtain a contract, have it reviewed by legal, and bring those contracts back before you. But at this time, I'm recommending that the bids be awarded as indicated in Ms. Van Avery's memo.
Motion made to award the bids.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C.
Next item is I would request approval of the enclosed snow plowing bid, which is the company that we currently have.
Second. All set. Motion. Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D.
Item D, we're going to ask that it be tabled. We do have a very exciting opportunity that we were hoping would be ready for this evening for your approval, but through our contracted telemedicine service, which has been a very valuable service to our employees, they have come forward with a proposal to provide virtual mental health support for our students at no charge for an approximate 3-year period. However, the documents that they have provided to us have not yet been fully vetted by legal, so I'm just asking that it be tabled, and then we'll bring it back to you at a future meeting, hopefully next month, and then we'll have more information for any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goho. Item number 11, approval of bills.
Motion made to approve as submitted.
Any questions on the bills? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, use of property requests.
Motion made to approve as submitted.
Any questions on use of property? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, request to address the committee. We have none. Item number 14, we have no pending business. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made, second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Even with the building management system, even